Shea Whigham, first of all, before we talk about anything else, congratulations on your Critics' Choice nomination for Homecoming.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
That must be very exciting that you're being recognized by the people who really know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been in this position before, man. To be honest with you, I'm just happy for Sam. I'm happy for Julie and the production itself. It's something we're all real proud of. So, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a little bit of awards experience as the member of various fantastic ensembles. You've won 2 SAG awards for Boardwalk Empire, but this is really your first major nomination, which I think is kind of insane that it's taken this long. I'm very, very happy for you that you're actually being recognized individually for once.
You know, to be honest with you, I'm always surprised anybody knows my work at all. So to be singled out is it's nice. Yeah.
Scanning over your recent credits, you're, I think, quite possibly the busiest actor in film and TV this past year. How does it feel to be so in demand?
I mean, yeah, for me, it all comes down to directors, and it every once in a while it lines up for you like this, where these. I mean, you go on a murderer's row of Damien Chazelle and Sam, Sam and Adam McKay and then Todd Phillips, and it's I feel really lucky, man, that it's all happening.
So your character Thomas is a bureaucrat who is investigating this secretive facility. For anyone who hasn't seen Homecoming, and if you haven't, maybe you shouldn't watch this until you've seen it because there's going to be some spoilers. But I was wondering, so how did you prepare? What did you know about the character and what was going to happen to the character when you took on the role?
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the podcast. I just wanted to work with Sam, and Sam had approached me about this, and I wanted to figure out if I had a way in on Thomas, on Carrasco. And so I started listening to the podcast. I love the podcast. I got pretty deep into that. And then, I said to Sam, what was interesting to me about Carrasco is that he's not a sleuth and he's not a private eye. He's just someone an ordinary guy working at the Department of Defense Office of the Inspector General. And I said to me, it'd be really interesting to watch a cat who is just a thumbs up, thumbs down on these complaints that come in. And then from there, something's not right in Carrasco's gut, and he wants to follow this thread and gets in over his head pretty quickly and doesn't understand why things are turning out the way that they are, why people won't square up with him. And to me, I think that's what's pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, that's what I actually really love about him. Like when I watched the show, I just felt a connection with him because he's just an everyday guy, kind of like me and anyone else watching the show, just trying to get something done, then realizes there's an issue. And you can see he's very diligent about trying to get to the bottom of it. There's no massive backstory about him being a tortured soul. He's just trying to get something done. And I'm wondering, though, there's a bit of ambiguity there and his motivations. Did that play into how you were going to tackle this role?
It's interesting. What I loved about it was I got a chance to build his backstory, but you don't necessarily see it on screen. But I think you can travel places, whether with the glasses or with the way that he dresses, or with the way that he handles situations, and that can take you places with him about his backstory. And I wanted to keep it. I wanted to keep it open as far as that ambiguity. For me, it was specificity, but for the audience, let them travel wherever they wanted to with him. And that allows for things to happen to him, with him, I think. So, yeah.
And would you say his primary motivation was really just to uncover the truth, or do you think there was more to it in terms of how you were going to build this guy?
Well, I think you've hit it right on the head. I think it's about just uncovering the truth, wanting to do the right thing, and then once he's hitting these roadblocks that he doesn't understand, that I don't understand as I'm coming into the first episode and the second episode, whether it's from my boss, who's like, what are you doing here, to to Julia originally, to Heidi, and then to my boss, to what's his mom. Now I'm going up on names, but his mom,
Yeah.
so this doesn't he just doesn't understand why, why these things are happening. But I think it is the truth ultimately, and that's something that you can play. You know what I mean? As an actor, you can really hang your hat on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned working with Sam Esmail. You've worked with so many amazing people over the last few years in particular. But what was it about him in particular that you really wanted to work with him?
Well, I mean, Sam is a cinephile. He knows his Kubrick, he knows his De Palmas, he knows his, everything about Spielberg. You'll see all of this come into play, and he's like a lot of these guys, men and women that I've worked with recently. They're strong directors, and that's what you want to be under ultimately. For me, you know what I mean. I want to see someone come in and know what they want, and then to see if I and we together can solve this puzzle, and that's what Sam is. He loves actors, and he loves setting up scenes. He just loves. He's built to be a director, be a filmmaker.
Well, what blows my mind is watching it. I mean, if you are a cinephile, this is the show for you, because there's a lot of De Palma, there's a lot of Hitchcock, there's a lot of very interesting stylistic choices. For example, when people are talking on the phone, you're hearing the audio through the phone and not through the TV or through reality. Did all that stuff really excite you when you eventually saw the finished product?
Yeah, that's funny, man, because when we were actually doing it, every actor or actress showed up on the day that we had a phone conversation to do their conversation with you. So everything is authentic. I mean, Julia showed up every single day that she may not have been on that day. She showed up to do her stuff with Bobby on the phone. So to keep that authentic, yeah, what was actually, I was going to go back to the first part of that question, but I jumped to that. What did you say?
It was there's always hallmarks of other very prolific filmmakers in his stylistic choices, and I love that about what he does on Mr. Robot and on this.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, when you see the final product, you're in it, so you were doing it with him, but when you see it, what's your reaction to how he puts it together?
Yeah, I was pretty. I mean, going through it, I thought to myself, we're working with Todd Campbell's this DP, and off the top of my head, the shot that I did in the stair, I did a couple of stair shots.
Love it.
If you'd have seen the pulley that they had for the camera that was going down overhead, it was truly incredible. What he did with it, and he gets off on that. He loves taking his chance. But conversely to that, he let me, if you noticed in the basement, he let that whole period play out. Most of the time, it's they want to get let's keep it moving, let's go. But he knew to let's let this play out for Carrasco in the search for box 252. That's what makes it. To me, I was so satisfied with that.
I know, it's amazing. And you mentioned authenticity. As an actor and an experienced actor, you've probably been on lots of projects where perhaps maybe the authenticity is not necessarily a priority, but when it is, and you guys are actually going that extra mile to really kind of get to reality so that the audience can link into that, what does that mean to you when you're trying to create something?
Yeah, I mean, I think whether it's Homecoming, whether it's First Man with Chazelle, which he tried to put you right into the capsule. For me, it's a visceral. You're trying to get as close as you can inside the skin of the character. You never want to be here. You always want to be here. And I think, and you never want the audience to see you working or the gears turning. You want to get inside that skin. And for me, that Sam, these guys, they allow you to go. They put you in those positions, and then so that the audience has a visceral feel, whether it's Carrasco tripping on a bicycle, and it's like, oh shit. I mean, you feel that, or tripping down the stairs, or the sweat beating off with the glasses, looking for the boxes. I think, I mean, he's right there with the best that I've ever been around.
Yeah. What can you tell us about season 2?
I don't know anything. And honestly, I know there's going to be, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be part of it or who's a part of it.
Just a big unknown.
Yeah. Well, not to be facetious, I would, tell you what I can or can't, but I don't know anything.
Yeah. All right. We just have to wait then. So looking over 2018, no less than 6 films, 2 TV series, maybe more. Like your credits are incredible, very, very impressive. Let's quickly talk about First Man when we can. What did you most love about working on that project with Damien?
Again, coming back to the authenticity of it, you got a chance to go down to Houston and to Cape Canaveral and really build these characters. And he's, well, I say generational filmmaker. He is a generation, but so is Sam. And these guys, a couple of these guys that I've worked with that I've had a chance to, Fukunaga, Sam, Damien is, he's done 3 films and each one are, completely different. And he set a world like none other when we were down there. And I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how impressed I was with him.
And then following on from that, you worked on Vice as well, which is a lot of people are getting quite excited about. It's out now or it's coming out, depending on where you live. What was your highlight from Vice?
Yeah, that one, every once in a while one falls into your lap, and they had an actor fall out. I was doing something else and they had an actor fall out, and I'd want to work with Adam McKay forever. And going back to, I was a fan of his in Saturday Night Live days. Over here we have Saturday Night Live, and he had written for Will Ferrell, I knew, and I had never met him, but I wanted to work with him. And so about 48 hours out, I get a call that Adam McKay wants you to come in and do this for him. And my heart's pounding, and I didn't know if I could figure that out within 48 hours. And that's when you just have to jump off and go do it. So I crammed for 48 hours about Lynn's father and what he meant and what the family dynamic. And we just went in there, and that was like a whirlwind to me. And it was like working in improv, so that to me, and he may be he's one of the smartest cats in any room you walk into, Adam. So it was electric working on that thing.
And then looking back a little further back, your 2 SAG awards are from Boardwalk. A lot of people put that on their best of lists, right? It's like it's iconic now. It's a really amazing portrait of Atlantic City in a particular period, and you played the younger Thompson brother, and a lot of people, including myself, will probably always connect you with that project. I'm just thinking, it looked like a lot of fun, but also quite challenging to do. Period. What's your take on doing something that's in a particular period where you're actually having to kind of, it's something that you're not particularly familiar with because it's from a long time ago?
Yeah. Thank you about that piece. I think that piece, as we get farther away from it, there's more appreciation. Because it had legs. I think we could have continued to tell those stories. We had more stories to tell, and we went probably 12 to 15 people deep as far as actors. I love that piece. I love the time period. It's always fun to be able to do the research and see if you can drop in on the time period for me. And Boardwalk, again, as we're very proud of it, and as you do get distance from it, you wonder if we could have just maybe stuck it out a little bit more. I would have loved to, It was, to me, it's a highlight getting to work with Buscemi and my director Tim Van Patten, who had done The Sopranos and set the world for Game of Thrones, and you're working with the best of the best. And Steve allowed me to really develop Eli, and for that I'm forever grateful.
So, given that you've been in a lot of projects recent years, what do people mostly, if they come up to you or they recognize you, what do you find is the most common thing that people want to talk to you about?
They definitely want to talk a lot about Boardwalk. Tigerland sometimes, my very first piece with Colin Farrell and Schumacher directing us. This True Detective season 1, The Preacher. They want to know how we built that guy, and so I get a lot of those, a lot of the television. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's what seems to like go into people's living rooms where they actually kind of take ownership of a particular character or a particular show. And I mean, that's my perspective, and that's why I'll always think about Boardwalk and a few of the other things you've done. But I ask this question sometimes to actors, and I get different responses. I'm curious to see what you'll say. Like, for example, Margot Martindale and Ann Dowd hate this term, but I'm wondering what you think about when people call you a character actor. Do you hate that, or do you understand where it's coming from?
I mean, at this point, I don't hate it. You know what I mean? I don't differentiate. If I play the lead in something, you still do the same work. You're trying to really, but I mean, I see where they're coming from. I see where those ladies.
Yeah. They're like, we're actors. It doesn't matter. This character actor, it means nothing. We're actors, And that's...
Right.
So coming up, we're going to see you in Dirty John and also Modern Love, which is kind of really exciting. I don't know a lot about Modern Love. What can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, I got a chance to be directed by Emmy Rossum, who is Sam Esmail's wife in life and partner, and she is incredible. She was incredible. It's just a strong director, and coming off of Shameless, which she acted in and directed a couple of them, and I get to act with one of the best young talents, Julia Garner, and her and I, it's kind of a two-hander. And it's about love. It's based on a New York Times column within each week about love and modern love and what it happens. And you may have, it could be any variation of that. And this one, and what love means to you, and they were kept asking me, what do you think? What do you think? And I said, for me, it's that boom, that goes off, when you first feel it, and the messiness and the beauty of it and the ugly of it. And so it's going to be a lot of that. And I hear it's really good. We're proud of it.
It's very exciting. And also looking forward, when you Google your name, a lot of the things that come up are about Joker. Everyone's very excited about this for next year. What can you tell? I mean, you can't say anything really, but can you say anything at all to kind of satiate the fans about what to expect on that one?
I think I'm really sworn to secret. I get myself in trouble because I don't do a lot of interviews, but when I do, I know we're enormously proud of it. I remember when I read it, my initial, I want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? I don't care what I have to do in it, what they have me doing. I want to be a part of that. And it didn't disappoint. I get a chance to be with Joaquin and Bill Camp, the great Bill Camp, and Todd Phillips. I think he's the perfect director for this piece. People would say, well, he's done The Hangover and he's done, Old School and things like that. And for me, he's the perfect mesh for this material. So, we'll see. We just finished it up, so we'll see.
Very, very exciting. Look, getting super superficial here. I really hope you win that award. I hope we see you at the Emmys next year. You bloody deserve it, mate. It's a bloody long time coming, and I hope people see you in, Sicario, Day to the Soldado, and Beirut. Like so many projects, man. Like unbelievable. Hope you win. I really do.
Listen, man. I thank you for this and having me on. I really appreciate it, man. I hope I talk to you real soon again.